Hi everyone. Hello. Maya is here, and I wanted to talk today and demonstrate some exercises how to move fear out of our body, out of our energetic field. I've been working with that myself for the couple of last days. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster. And I realized that this might be actually the topic that's coming up for many people right now. And we are actually in a perfect place to face our fears because it doesn't matter how receptive you are to the energy. Basically, we're all receptive to the energy. It's all about whether we pay attention to it or not, because energy follows our attention. So the moment we keep our attention open, we can actually sense the energy. So whether we're conscious or unconscious about this, we are all sensing a collective fear. And sometimes collective fear can just affect you, where you basically, as an empath, just because you're so open, you're so receptive, you can just start feeling this waves of fear that might not be your fear. And I recorded a video on how you can scan your energetic field and determine what is yours and what is not. So that can be a great resource to figure it out whether it's your fear or not. But we all, obviously, we have our personal fears, and when we sensing the collective energy, it kind of fuels our own fears. It gives them additional charge. So those fears that we were able to manage when everything is normal and safe, right now those fears are coming out more strongly, and this is an incredible opportunity to actually face certain things that we've been avoiding for a long time. So definitely look into this as an opportunity and embrace those waves of anxiety. And I know it's uncomfortable, I know, but this is a great opportunity to actually liberate. And this is one of the lessons that we all collectively also learning and facing. We definitely liberating and purging and cleansing a lot of things, again, regardless of how conscious or unconscious you might be of this. So I wanted to talk about how to work with fear. And even though I work with metaphysical energy, I guide my clients how to engage with emotions, how to make them run through the body, and move these energy patterns. I'm going to be honest, I hate doing this myself. I don't like to feel those negative feelings, but thankfully to the practice that I know, and thankfully to what I do, I see a confirmation every single time how essential it is. So, talking about fear, what is fear? Fear is stock energy that are running in the body and in our energy field. We all have an energy field. Fear usually caused by experiences that triggers our survival. Literally physical survival, sense of belongingness, our autonomy, our relatedness, and this is something that just it linked to our primal brain, which is in charge of our survival. So this part of our psyche is always scanning everything that is happening and constantly sending the alarm system through sympathetic nervous system. And when this alarm is activated, we usually go into fight, flight, or freeze response. I go into freeze. And that's why I don't want to move my body because I go into freeze. So it takes me additional effort to actually do these practices. If you go into fight, that's the easiest way because you're already active. So it's easier to tap into that impulse. It just, be conscious of how you move this energy. So those three responses usually is activated in our in our nervous system, and this is how we run energetic patterns within ourselves. And this is just a habit that your body developed since you were a child. And when kids, we don't have those tools, right? We very much we just responding from this animal standpoint. And while animals, when they are experiencing fear or stress, they usually move their bodies afterwards. They kind of shake it out of their system so they are not constantly traumatized by it. And unfortunately, we as humans, we don't have this practice. And it's a great habit every day. At some point during the day, just spend a couple minutes just shaking your body, giving your body, basically a movement. This is a great tool regardless of how you feel, even if you had an amazing day, to just give your body this shaking. But when we dealing with fears that are very much rooted, that been with us for years, these fears that literally, like, you feel chemicals running through your body. You feel that your sympathetic system is activated. You are not thinking clearly. You are not calm. You are not reasonable. You just basically very much reactive, and you really just running a certain pattern. And the more you observe how you respond, what is happening in your body, what is happening in your system, the more you're getting familiar of how exactly you're running the energy. As I mentioned, some people can just shrink and freeze. Some people can just, become like very, very aggressive, and just this desire to kind of just get out of this. Some people just checked out, completely numbing themselves. So this is three typical responses of how we run the energy when we are afraid. And usually we develop a habit. When this happens, you just go into this response, the way your body responding, the way your energy is running, and you're kind of suppressing it, and eventually you get out of this. But this energy is stuck, and this is how we manifest those events to repeat themselves, because this energy is in our field. This is what we projecting consciously or unconsciously. This is something that's literally being trapped. And even though it is uncomfortable and we, let's say, do not like it, we don't want to experience this, it is running all the time, all the time, all the time. And this is the mystery of why we attract very similar events into our lives over and over and over and over again. Because this is a stuck energy in our body, in our energy field, we 100% have a power to move this energy. It sounds very simple, but the task is just to release this energy. The reason why this energy is stuck is because we resist it. Because we resist to surrender and to embrace of what we're afraid of. And this is extremely primal response of the body because, right, we think we're going to die if we face it. Usually for 90% of the time, it's just something that our mind is afraid of. It's not necessarily a literal threat in the reality. It's just a thought how scary and how dangerous it is. And it takes time. It's not that it's going to happen like this overnight, but it takes time to get conscious that the only way to overcome this response, this energetic pattern, is to actually surrender to it and embrace it. The way we transmute our fears is through feeling them in our hearts. Moving the fear to the center of our heart chakra. This is our alchemical center. Our heart chakra responsible not only for love and positive emotions, this is our capacity to feel. And you cannot function as a balanced, aligned human if you are kind of selecting what feelings you're feeling. If you are choosing and numbing certain things that you don't like. The moment you numb something, the moment you suppress something, you block the energy flow. And because we are electromagnetic beings, it is important to not to block those energies within us. So when we encounter the events that sets this responses within us, it's because we resist. We resist to accept what it is. And we go into the mode of rejecting. What is it that in front of us? Instead, the moment you bring your consciousness and awareness to what is happening in your system, and you take the power away from reactiveness, what you need to do is to sit down and breathe into your fear and keep your attention on your heart. I call it breathing with your heart, even though you're breathing with your lungs, but you drop your attention to your heart. So when you are inhaling, you imagining that you expand your heart center, and you imagining that you embrace this uncomfortable sensation of anxiety. And all these chemicals that are running in your body, all this discomfort, all this, the sensations that just wants you to scream, that you suck this into your heart, into your powerful center of transformation, transmutation, alchemy. So you bring those sensations into your heart. And then you exhaling through your mouth with a little bit of blowing. When we do this type of a breathing, it comes down our nervous system and it activates our parasympathetic system instead of our sympathetic system. So we're switching flow from flight, fight, or freeze response into coming down, into sending the message that I am safe. This is okay. And this is a process, and I encourage you to be patient with yourself. It might not take just one time, one day, but the moment you feel the waves of fears, instead of go down the spiral, just sit down, touch your body, give your body a sense that I'm here, I'm safe, I'm alive, I can take care of myself. And then you can put your hands on your heart, you can close your eyes, expand your heart center, bring all of those chemicals, sensations into your heart, and exhale through your mouth. And when you're blowing out through your mouth, you're imagining that you're releasing those chemicals, you're releasing this energy that's been trapped for so long, for years. And you will feel that the energy is moving. You will feel very unusual tingling in your body. It might bring up tears. It might start bringing up emotions. Just sit and continue. Feel through this. Completely surrender into these breathing experiences. This is the way to move the energy. This is the way to move the old trap fears that are 90% are not real. It just lives, it's like a still picture that just trapped. Because our fears, right, they don't know, our primary mind doesn't understand the concept of time. So when you were afraid as a child, when your parent, I don't know, left to go do some grocery shopping, right? And you were alone in the apartment, that fear, it might still running as fear of abandonment every time when you don't get a sense of somebody, right? It's just the response. Your primal mind doesn't understand that it's been 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. This is just the response that were not processed at that time. And really tap into that sensations, because usually they are familiar from childhood. The way we run energy, we learn how to do it in our childhood. Everyone develops the survival mechanisms that's working for them back then. And tap into that experience. Maybe even past memories will start coming up for you that you haven't been thinking for a long time. Just sit, feel, and breathe. Because when we are trapped in those energies, we resist to feel fully. We resist that rushes of mortifying fear to actually run through our system. It might take you 2 breaths to actually release that super intensity that you've been afraid of your whole entire life. And then it's going to be done forever. And the rest, you just, keep releasing the energy that are less intense. So this is a process. And I highly recommend to practice this right now, because this is a great environment, because we're all afraid. So it's collective. And once it's collective, you don't feel that you're alone. And, we all craving sense of belonging. So right now, tap into collective fear to liberate from your personal fears. Reach out if you have any questions, and if you need any support, I'm offering one-on-one sessions. I'm here to guide, to share everything that I know. I love you all.